Well, I hate to say I told you so, but the fact is I did in fact tell you so. Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, has walked away from his pledge to reform the way we vote. Now look, I'm a firm believer in the fact that the status quo, first past the post, is the best system to serve Canadians. I believe wholeheartedly that any of the flaws that people say exist in this system are matched or in fact exceeded by flaws in all of the proposed alternatives, whether it's ranked balloting or proportional representation, all of these other alternatives that have been put forth as potential options for Canada. But Justin Trudeau didn't think that. Justin Trudeau made a very clear commitment. The Liberal Party of Canada made a very clear commitment in the last election, and even after the election, after being sworn in as Prime Minister, that 2015 would have been the last election that Canada had based on the first past the post system. They were unequivocal about this.
We are committed to ensuring that the 2015 election will be the last federal election using first past the post.
But now Justin Trudeau, after shuffling Maryam Monsef out of cabinet as the Minister of Democratic Institutions, he actually brought in a new woman, Karina Gould, and he sent her a mandate letter. And in this mandate letter, he laid out the fact that her position is not expected to be one that involves electoral reform. In fact, he's told her quite the contrary, that the government is no longer interested in doing that. I want to read a section of the letter that he gave that was made public this week. There has been tremendous work by the House of Commons Special Committee on Electoral Reform outreach by members of Parliament by all parties, and engagement of 360,000 individuals in Canada through mydemocracy.ca. A clear preference for a new electoral system, let alone a consensus, has not emerged. Furthermore, without a clear preference or a clear question, a referendum would not be in Canada's interest. Changing the electoral system will not be in your mandate. Now here's the thing, anyone with a brain could have told him that Canadians didn't have a clear preference, that the only way to measure if there would be a viable alternative was through a referendum. But the government didn't want to do a referendum. They didn't want an actual consultation. They didn't want to actually engage with Canadians. They wanted to celebrate that 360,000 Canadians, 1%, went to a website that was essentially a push poll. It didn't tell you what the options really were. It put you in categories. You were a Guardian, you were an Angel, you were a Hufflepuff, you were a Gryffindor. You were one of these groups that they didn't really articulate, but somehow was supposed to be a meaningful conclusion to the federal government. The process was flawed from the start. Maryam Monsef took her electoral reform roadshow from coast to coast to coast, and people didn't even know the language where she was going necessarily. People didn't show up. People felt it was a one-way street of communication. Now Trudeau has backed away from this. I'm happy from a public policy perspective, but his hypocrisy needs to be pointed out. The fact that he lied to voters, many of whom from the Green Party, from smaller parties, voted for the Liberals for the sole reason that in future elections they'd be able to have a seat at the table in the democratic process in a way that they didn't think they did up until that point. He lied to them. He duped them. And even though many of us saw the writing on the wall, people still fell for it. And even though I'm happy with the outcome, Trudeau has to be called out for being so dishonest to Canadians, all in the name of engagement. For the Rebel.media, I'm Andrew Lawton. Hey, if you like what you see here, make sure to go to the Rebel.media for lots more fearless content and commentary from me and lots of people smarter than me. Also become a premium member, the best investment you'll ever make to be informed, only at the Rebel.media.